Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live broadcast of the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devindra Hardware this morning, joined by Senior Writer Sam Rutherford. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
Going okay? And podcast producer Ben Elman. Hey, Ben.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And hello, chat. Thank you. I see some people are joining us. I had pre-scheduled this post, but I don't know. YouTube just didn't take it. So thank you to those folks who are here. Who's here this morning? I see
Might
Simon
just be
B.
Simon B right now, but
Simon
thank you,
B. Hold
Simon
it,
B,
hold
for
it down.
being
Yeah.
so on top of your YouTube homepage.
Thank you. I don't even know how those alerts kind of go out to subscribers and whatnot. But yeah, we'll be talking about Apple's new M5 devices and Sam's review of the Xbox. Oh God, the ROG Xbox Ally X. I already hate this device because of its name, but Sam,
I, I, I really wished I had figured out a better name for it.
it's because you've got two competing companies fighting for that. We'll talk about this on the show. How's
Mm-hmm.
everybody doing? I see Pamela Denise is here.
And gave us a grand rising.
Is that kid? What does that mean? What is, I don't know what that means.
It is a black Israelite thing. It's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like the folks in downtown Brooklyn who I used to always walk past, the
yeah,
folks
like they
they're
set
always
up
fun.
shop right
Always
outside
fun to
of
listen to.
Barclays
Yeah.
Center.
I miss all that. I was just there. But yeah, we didn't have an episode last week, folks, because I was out traveling in New York. But we're back and we've got a bunch of things that's going to be happening. So we're just going to get right into it. For newcomers, we'll be recording the live podcast, our audio podcast. So we won't always get to talk to you folks, but we'll take some questions. We'll take some breaks and do some Q&As. Simon B, did we get his email? Ben, check on that and plug it into the show
I'm
notes.
looking right now. Okay, so yes,
Yep.
talking about keyboards, BlackBerry revival, and
All right.
okay, yeah. So I'll read this later
Direct,
on. I'm not going to read it
this
on
is a direct
stream.
connection to the show. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Simon. All right, and we're just going to get going into it. Techtober is officially in full swing, right? Like we're
And it
doing
is
all.
not over yet.
It's not over, and then as soon as it's sort of over, we're preparing for CES and the holidays. So it's
Yep.
never over, folks. We're just always into it. All right, you guys ready to go
Yeah.
into the show? You get a clap and stuff, Ben. Yeah.
Yep.
Once you're done with that.
Okay, everybody. So we've got a few old chat people, enduring chat people, let's say, and then maybe one new one. But like what we do is I'm going to count down from 3. At the end of 3, we're all going to make a sound. You can clap your hands or snap your fingers. We're going to do that on the stream, and you can put a clap or snap fingers emoji in the chat if you want, because that's always fun to see. And then we're actually going to get into the episode. So counting down from 3, 2, 1, and some silence. I'll let you know when the silence is over. Okay, silence over. Let's get to it.
All right. Show notes up. Double checking recording. Hello, hello. That seems fine. Okay. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devindra Hardware. This week I'm joined by Senior Writer Sam Rutherford. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
Going okay. And also podcast producer Ben Elman's here. Hey, Ben.
Hey there, everybody.
Hello. It's a big week for us because we've got the Apple drops. We've got Apple's fall slate of devices, probably more to come, but they announced their M5 hardware, including the 14-inch MacBook Pro, the new iPad Pro, and a revamped Vision Pro, which is pretty surprising. So we'll be diving into all that stuff and kind of what it all means. I also really wanted to get Sam here because his review of the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X is up, and I want to talk about that thing, and we can sort of like reassess the state of Xbox every week. It just seems worse and worse for Microsoft. So, I don't know. It's going to be a constant conversation. As always, folks, if you're enjoying the show, please be sure to do that again. As always, folks, if you're enjoying the show, please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes. Drop us an email at podcast@engadget.com. And we'll always take your questions, there. That's always fun. And any questions you send could be used in our Ask Engadget section. You can also drop in Thursday mornings, typically around 10:30 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel for our live stream. Join us. Sometimes we'll show off gadgets. Nothing this week, I think, but sometimes we do that, and we'll often do Q&A with the audience. So let's just get right into Apple's new M5 hardware. There's really not much to say about the M5 itself, Sam, from what I've seen. We've been reading all the press releases from Apple. I've heard some murmurs from within the company. The M5 chip seems like it's slightly faster. They're kind of saying, hey, it is the new single core CPU king, like in terms of raw speed.
Yep.
But it seems like the big upgrade this time is the GPU because it has real-time ray tracing baked in, which is typically a feature of like Nvidia's graphics cards or AMD's like high-end graphics cards.
Right.
So there's a bigger graphics push this year, but compared to M4, I'm probably not like a huge leap for a lot of things. We haven't tested the hardware yet. We haven't seen anything. These are basically just chip drop-ins. The MacBook Pro 14-inch looks the same. The Vision Pro is a little different. I'll talk about that. The iPad Pro is basically the same. Any initial thoughts, Sam, based on what we've seen so far?
No, and I think it's important to kind of realize it's like when Apple announces new stuff like that, you got to pay attention to how they do it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
notice that these things just got announced as press releases. They didn't get announced as part of like WWDC or like the big iPhone. So if Apple's announcing stuff and it's not part of like a big live stream or a big presentation, you can kind of like tell the importance of the actual product.
Mhm.
And furthermore, it's kind of also kind of telling to see what we didn't get because there's a new M5 MacBook Pro 14-inch, but there is no 16-inch version. That's still going to be on the M4 chip using the M4 chip, I believe.
I
And
so specifically, I asked some folks questions about that, and they
mhm,
reminded me because I forget this. Apple has been doing this for the last few years, where the base chip just gets to the 14-inch, and then when they have the Pro chip and the Max chip and everything, then we get the 16 and
right,
everything.
and that's a really good point because there
Yeah.
is no M5 Pro or M5 Max or anything like that. And so, hey, they're pushing out a new chip, some new architecture with improved GPU performance, which is I don't think anyone's going to complain about that.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
device is, as far as I can tell, not any different. And so it's like they're kind of pushing out some of the mainstream stuff right now, and then if you are looking for like the higher end versions of that, you're probably gonna want to sit tight for a little while longer.
It makes more sense than what happened last year, Sam. Wasn't last year just the M4 on the iPad Pro
Yeah,
first?
it
Like
came out
what?
on the iPad Pro,
Yeah.
which is like, don't get me wrong, like more performance is good, but like I think even for iPad Pro users, they're not like
Mhm.
fully saturating the capabilities of that device. And to have like, hey, flagship chip on a tablet didn't
Mhm.
feel quite right. But so at least they're getting it. Hey, it's now on the MacBook Pro 14-inch and the iPad Pro as well. So hey, there is that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro, pretty much the same devices as before, slightly faster. The Vision Pro is kind of interesting because they haven't touched that since that thing launched a couple of years ago. That originally had an M2 chip in it.
Mhm.
So jumping up to the M5, that's a big leap. It's still 34.99.
That
We noticed a couple
price,
of
that
things.
price is gonna.
It's
I
not, yeah, yeah. They made that mistake. And I'm going to bring this back up from when we talked about the Vision Pro. Apple made a huge mistake being like, look at this amazing new thing that you can buy in our store because there are commercials for it, right? They
Mhm.
marketed it because that's who they are as a company now, rather than be like, this is a vision of the future. This is something we're working on. This is not for you. And the Vision Pro was never for consumers, right? You could go to the store and try it out, but for the love of God, don't buy that thing. Not
Right.
if
It,
you're
it was
not
it was the
looking to
most
develop.
polished dev kit I've ever
Yeah,
seen, but
yeah,
to kind of push it out and be like, "Hey, this thing is for everyone." I think that was it was more of a messaging
yeah.
mistake than necessarily like a issue with the product itself.
And I mean, Apple has had that problem a couple of times, right? A lot of the Apple Intelligence stuff when they message that we have a shiny new Siri coming to you. What was
Mhm.
that last year? And then they had to scale that back and be like, oh, that's going to take some
Right,
time.
and we talked about this
Yeah.
last year when they made this big push for Apple Intelligence. Sales of the new iPhones were kind of lackluster. This year, when they talk about cool new hardware and all that stuff, and they got new iPhone designs and stuff like that. Oh, magically, sales are way up. So I think Apple. There's certain you know
Hmm.
bless them for trying, but like we can see kind of where at least people's interests are, and also you look at Apple's core strengths at historically what they've been good at.
They gave the people what they want, and what the people wanted was a wide-angle selfie camera.
Well, they
Yeah.
wanted new hardware features, right? Because Apple is, I think, for a lot of people, first and foremost, a hardware company. I
Hmm.
think the other thing was Apple made that gamble last year, assuming the AI hype trickled down to everybody, right? Like, is it
Right.
just the online brain all into AI and Silicon Valley brain, or is it do normal people actually give a crap? I don't think they did. And we got stats. There was a story from earlier this year that the same thing is happening to Microsoft's Copilot features.
Hmm.
The companies are pushing them, but people aren't like broadly jumping on all these AI features. We'll talk about what's going on with Sora, the Sora app and everything with OpenAI, like how they're getting some numbers, but mainly because it's a shiny new thing rather
Right.
than AI being shoved into a thing that people already know and like. But yeah, the new Vision Pro is it's honestly a lot faster than the original. They said an interesting thing that it processes 10% more pixels than the original model, even though the displays are exactly the same. So the pixels in the display doesn't seem like anything has changed. Those are still really sharp micro OLED screens, but I guess maybe the rendering resolution, because it's a much more powerful chip, they can probably scale that up a little
Hmm.
more. That's probably what I'm thinking, but that's the sort of stuff Apple doesn't really talk about much, like native resolution of that display to what it's scaling up to. It's also coming with a dual strap now, a dual mesh strap, which covers both the back and the top of your head. And when I originally tested the Vision Pro on Apple's campus, they had like some sort of like dual strap thing,
Right.
but they shipped that thing with the single strap.
And then
Again, I think
there's an
yeah,
optional, extra head strap that you had to buy, which I think was also
yeah.
a little bit of a mistake.
The Belkin released they did have like a slightly more optional one, but also Belkin released like a more comfortable dual strap one. But again, that was a messaging thing because I'm pretty sure somebody on the marketing team was like, "Oh, we want this to be a cool seamless device for people. It has to have one strap. It has to be clean. Can't be going over people's heads and messing up their hair." And that's a symptom where messaging works. That's an issue where messaging works against the actual technology, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people complain Vision Pro is heavy. I think it's kind of heavy, but once you add a top strap and you kind of balance out that weight, as we've seen on the PSVR 2 and a lot of other VR headsets, you can make a bulky headset feel comfortable just as long as you're distributing weight well. So
Right.
anyway, don't
The
miss
issue
Speaking
is
of
that
that,
they were really
yeah,
concerned with the aesthetics
they
of it.
were. And
True.
how do you market this to
It's
people? Yeah.
it's not just so it doesn't mess up your hair, it's
yeah.
that in all the marketing
Yes.
pictures, they
Yes.
want it to look like, a really sleek, basically
Yep.
like ski goggles sort of
Hmm.
situation. And you never see ski goggles with a middle strap because that is what
Yeah.
takes it from like sleek and cool looking to like, is this a medical device?
For sure. I think that's the whole thing. Like, and this is what has been hitting Apple is like marketers have had more and more influence over their messaging, and over how products are even like shown off because it's kind of the main thing of the company. But it wasn't always this way, right? Like sometimes it used to be
Yeah,
like
yeah. And
design was
and if you go back,
yeah,
this is one of Steve Jobs'
yes,
original
yeah,
complaints about like the, corporate enterprise development cycle is that after a certain time, the marketers keep rising and rising, and then they have kind of an outsized influence compared to say like the engineering teams
yeah.
or some of the developers. And that can cause some issues when it comes to releasing new products.
You could also argue that Apple's previous problem was also they were too design brain
Mm,
heavy. Like when Johnny Ive was fully in charge and
right.
put the recharge port of the Magic Mouse on the bottom. That's the sort of thing where people laugh at it and like only a crazy person who lives in like their minimalist a pod with an aluminum table like Johnny Ive, only that person can think that makes sense.
Hmm.
And that used to be an issue with Apple. Now it's kind of the opposite way. Anyway,
Yeah.
Vision Pro, still not for everybody, but they have made that change. We noticed they're not taking trade ins of the original Vision Pro so that you can
Ouch.
upgrade to the new one, which is annoying. But again, goes back to the whole thing that this is a developer kit. Like,
Yeah. Also,
yeah,
how many people do you really think have bought a Vision Pro and then
yes,
are going to upgrade to this new one just for that
yeah.
chip? I don't see a lot of people doing that. On top of like not having a lot of them in the wild as it
All
is.
reports that Vision Pro sales were pretty low, like pretty lackluster. Again, because who expected people to jump on this thing. That's insane.
Yeah.
But when Apple takes in devices, when you trade it in, they typically refurbish it, spiff it up, and then resell it to people. That market isn't there. The market of people who would buy a used Vision Pro, if they're not even jumping on the Vision Pro as it is, I don't think shaving off $1,000 at that thing is really gonna, entice somebody over. Not until Apple releases like $1,000 or less headset like that, that's going to be the mainstream product for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vision Pro is still its own thing. It's nice to see a refresh because whenever I try that thing on all the time, still to test out the immersive stuff, and sometimes just to like lounge in bed, I'm always amazed that, man, these are the best displays I've ever seen on a product because they are so clear, so like, and so close to your eyes. That stuff is still good. It never feels slow, but it does feel weird that we're going up and up and up in chips, and the Vision Pro is still stuck in M2. So hey, new Vision Pro doesn't really mean much because we need the apps, we need more content. This doesn't mean much
Yep.
for the Vision Pro space as a whole. Any other thoughts, Sam, about what
Um,
Apple's up to? Yeah.
just one like minor thought, because you mentioned the weight before, and I think a number
Okay.
of us were like in Slack looking at like, I think this one is a little bit heavier
Yeah.
than the previous model, which is really interesting because kind of weight and heaviness and weight distribution was one of the issues with the original model. Now I'm
Mhm.
not we're we haven't touched this thing, we haven't like used it yet, so it's not entirely clear if part of that is due to the weight of the new strap. That could be accounting for a little bit of that weight difference. But
Sam,
Devindra, go
you
ahead.
guys talk to chat. I have to get the doorbell for
Ah,
something. So you guys.
Okay.
yes. So Devindra is has to take a break to get a product for review. Can't say which one it is. Actually, I don't even know what it is, so I can't share anything. But yes. So like, we were looking this in Slack, and a bunch of Engadget staff people were like, "Oh, I think it's about 150 grams heavier than the last one." And so like we said before, it's not entirely sure if all of that is due to the new dual knit band or not. Um, but it's interesting to see that. I think for anyone looking at like point 0.5 generation improvement, it would have been nice to see weight reductions instead of increases, but there we are.
And not taking trade-ins is the biggest proof positive that they thought of this as, you should be writing this down as a business expense.
Mm. Yeah. If you can like knock this off on your taxes, so it's like essentially free, or you can call it offset some revenue or something like that by calling this as a business expense. That would be make it a lot more interesting. But yeah.
What a hero. He's
I have,
back
I
in
have a
just a
box.
couple minutes.
All right. Sam, you can finish your thought because I.
Oh
Cut
no, that was it. I was just kind of talking about how
It got heavier instead of lighter.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So let's go on and talk about the Apple Smart Display, because it seems like this is a weird time to release this. You would think that they would fully release this when they have the smarter Siri and they
Well,
can
they have-
say,
they have
hey,
the-
this is how you interact with
This
it.
is
Right.
just a
So
rumor.
so yeah, just to be clear, this is just a rumor,
They
right?
have not announced anything. Yeah.
And so they haven't made any official announcements yet, but the rumor is that Apple is working on a smart display of some sort, kind of like your Nest Hub or something like that. It could cost around $350. But I think, Ben, you just made the point, is that like
Yeah.
they cannot release this thing until they have a better version of Siri, because I think even the most diehard Apple person has to admit at this point there's like the limitations of Siri compared to Gemini or Alexa Plus. Even it's just
Mhm.
it's not there in a way that you need it to be for a smart home, smart display based device.
I think the rumor timelines we're hearing, a smarter Siri is going to come next year at some point, maybe spring, maybe around WWDC or right
Mhm.
before it. So, and it also sounds like Apple's going to have more hardware events, like different events for different types of phones. Like the next iPhone E, will be spring or something
Right.
when they can release a slightly cheaper one. But yeah, you're right. We need a smarter Siri. That would also go hand in hand with a display like this. I have been looking at these things a little more just because, like, I have space on my kitchen counter. I'm like, I wish something were here that could be useful. You have the Google devices, you have the Amazon devices. Apple could certainly play in that space. Do you guys care about smart displays at all?
I do. I have a couple. I have one in my kitchen, and I have one next to my bed. And I've said this to a lot of people. Like the way I think about it is that this is a smart photo display that does bonus stuff, and that's how I think about it. And like I definitely use voice controls to turn my lights on and turn music on and like look up stuff when I'm cooking and all that. Um, and so that t- at its core functionality, that is definitely something I like to have around. In terms of just like additional features, I'm not quite there yet. Partially because I live in a condo, and so I don't have like I don't have home security cameras that I need to monitor and stuff like all the
Right,
time.
right.
So that stuff is kind of lost on me.
That's the
I'd
thing
also
that
say that
think of. Yeah,
Apple
go ahead.
is yeah, so I'd also say that Apple is marginally a company that I trust marginally more to
Mhm.
interact with like a smart display or have something that's always listening. I do say marginally these days because they have been doing some other stuff like taking the ice tracker app off of the App Store, and
Mm.
they've strayed a bit from the company that was putting up billboards saying like we're the only one who cares about your privacy.
Right. I mean, they have a
Still, they
partnership with OpenAI, so if if you want to use ChatGPT on your iPhone, you can do that.
yeah, but like when they were originally talking about the smarter Siri, they were talking about how you kind of have like a personal virtual machine that
Yeah,
like
Right.
could keep your data like a little bit siloed. I don't know where that went. I think that that might have been a little bit pie in the sky for them
that's
because I
probably
mean,
where it's going. Because let me tell you, Ben, we'll talk about what Microsoft is up to next. They want the same thing. Everybody wants that. Everybody
mm,
wants a little AI assistant that's sitting on your shoulder, looking at what you're doing and like just helping you out. And again, virtualized containers for running apps and stuff. They're all going to
Right.
rely
And I
on
think,
security.
we will get to that point not in the not too distant future because one of the things that like we've noticed kind of as a trend in the last, year or two is that, because chips and stuff are getting stronger NPUs and AI accelerators and stuff like that, there is more AI processing happening on devices without needing to like, ping a server in the cloud. And so, as far as data privacy and data protection security that goes, I would definitely love to see more of that because I think, if you're asking stuff about like, home security footage or stuff like that, it'd be nice to just, oh, everything is local. I don't have to worry about my data being sent elsewhere.
That's a big thing. And when Apple initially announced Apple Intelligence, they talked about their private cloud array too. Like they've done things that even when stuff gets sent to the cloud, even when OpenAI stuff gets sent to the cloud from when you talk to Siri on your phone right now, which is the current feature, that's more protected than using the OpenAI app on its own or
True.
going through
Yep.
ChatGPT or anything. So there's all that. Yeah, anything else we want to mention among Apple stuff? We have not tested this hardware yet. We're looking to do it soon. I'm interested in seeing what the new Vision Pro looks and feels like, but also that thing felt fast enough to me. Like I don't think that's a
Yeah,
huge
that
deal.
the
Yeah,
processing power of that device was not its biggest issue, not even close.
not even close. One thing I want to mention around the weight gain, it could be that they need to change the cooling requirements for the M5 chip because it
Mm,
probably runs hotter. It is drawing more power. Like it is a 3 nanometer design. It's supposed to be super efficient, but that could be a thing. But
yes.
also, I do wonder if they like felt less concerned about like the weight distribution if they knew you were going to have the top strap like as a
Right,
certain
right, right,
weight.
right.
So that's kind of a whole thing. Anyway, stay tuned for all of our reviews of this new Apple hardware coming at you soon. Sam, I want to move on to your Xbox Ally X review because this is a thing that it definitely confused me quite a bit, right? Because there's the Xbox Ally, which is the $600 model. You reviewed
Mhm.
the $1,000 more powerful model. And when we last talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I kind of felt like this whole category of $1,000 plus portable gaming PCs to be kind of missing the point of what people really liked about
Or at
something
least
like this.
very niche in terms of
Yeah,
like who is actually like, seeking these and demanding these.
for sure. But the Steam Deck was a success because it launched under $500. You spend a little more, you get a slightly nicer screen, but the performance was like still the same across the board. But yeah, all these companies just immediately pushed it up. Microsoft is going through a lot of console trouble right now. We don't know what the hell they're kind of doing in the console world anymore. They've come out there to respond to rumors. Like that is a weird thing. They've responded to rumors saying that, hey, we're still working on Xbox hardware. We still have a partnership with AMD. All that stuff is happening. It's kind of a weird time. Did we lose Sam?
Ooh, we might have.
Let me see. Sorry, chat. We're just sitting tight. I don't want to. I want to have this conversation with Sam.
Oh, I'm back. Hello.
Okay.
I don't know if you crashed or I crashed or somebody.
Well, we're still good. Something crashed, but you mean another label? I don't know.
Yeah, let me fix that. Oh
Thank
wow.
you.
Okay. Boot.
That's weird. But live video, folks, it's always fun.
Okay. Oops. Wait. Hold
Okay,
on.
Sam.
Darn. Okay. Now we got it.
Okay. Well, not quite. Now I think Sam is a new color, and now your color.
Yeah, my
Oh.
position on like
Yeah.
the video ninja switched.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. We fixed it.
All right.
Fixed it.
All fixed. So let me get right. I finished that thought. Sam, what do you think of this Xbox Ally X? Is it worth $1,000? Is there a market for this thing?
I mean, just to answer that, I
Mhm.
do really appreciate the improved performance of the device. And I was playing Cyberpunk on medium settings at
Mhm.
getting pretty much like a pretty stable 55 to 60 FPS, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
Obviously Cyberpunk's like a couple years old or a few years old at this point, but
it's
like
a demanding
it is
game, but
still a
yeah.
pretty demanding game, and so to have that in a portable device is really nice. But we were talking, before the stream about like the response to this has kind of been very, divided. And I think that has to do a lot with, where your perspective is and where you're coming from. Because if you're coming from like the, $450 Switch 2 and you're looking at this as like a proper Xbox
Mhm.
handhold, that's not quite right. Because not only did, Asus do the hardware part, Microsoft's main involvement was doing a lot of the software and some of the background services and how Windows 11 runs a little bit differently on this device. And at its core, it is still a handheld gaming PC. This is not a handheld console, and so
Mhm.
it is not that. It is not really a true rival to the Nintendo Switch 2.
Sam, I've been told everything is an Xbox. I've been told over and over again, my TV is an Xbox. This computer is an Xbox. Any device that can run Xbox apps is an Xbox. So I
That's
think
true.
like,
Eh,
this is the
eh,
whole messaging problem we were talking about too.
mhm.
So things are at odds right now. I
Yeah,
think.
Stephen, you like we were talking about this earlier. This goes back to the naming, the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. Not too many X's, but it's also just too many
Yeah,
brands and company names in that. And they didn't even put the Microsoft tag in there, which is fine. They don't need it.
they don't need it because it's Xbox.
But
Xbox
like,
means
to your point,
everything.
and that is actually one of the things I do like about that. It's not, a
Mhm.
fully solved problem, but on the new ROG Xbox Ally X, there is a new full screen Windows experience. And kind of to your point, we're talking about how everything is an Xbox now. They have created a new launcher system so that, hey, when you boot up the device, when you turn it on, you don't see that traditional Windows 11 desktop. You get
Mhm.
booted right into a new full screen Xbox app. And then you have tabs for, locally installed games, Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Game Cloud streaming, and then there's even like a little tab that you can install Steam or BattleNet or
Mm.
Epic Game Store. Just you hit that button and it downloads the game store automatically. And
That's where it gets
so,
interesting. I don't want to. I don't want to like skip past that because now this is an Xbox device where Microsoft is giving you a shortcut to third-party PC storefronts
mhm.
from other folks.
And they
They're,
didn't have to do that. So I was kind of
yeah.
surprised to see that's like, oh, they're kind of acknowledging that, like, hey, this is a little bit more of an open device.
Mhm.
We're not gonna acknowledge that there are third-party game stores on there. And but that said, it's still very clear that like Microsoft would really, really love you to buy this device and a subscription to
For sure.
Xbox Game
For
Pass.
sure.
So you can still do it. Hey, if you want to do your cloud gaming, you can do that. And if you want to do remote play from your PC, you can do that too. And if you want to do your Xbox Game Pass local downloads and stuff like that, that's also an option. And that's all very, easy to find. And there is that Xbox button on the device itself, which makes it very easy to, switch between things and, kind of adjust settings and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
you even get like all your, gamer tag friend profiles in there and you can see your achievements and stuff like that. And so in that respect, it does feel a lot more like an Xbox, but this is not like a true the only thing you do is play games on this console type of device.
But kind of this is where Microsoft should be headed. I think we talked about this last time, right? You are Microsoft. You are the Windows company, and your strength is interoperability. It's third party access to things. Like, sure, maybe not everybody's going to jump to Steam or the Epic Store or whatever, but to have that power, to have that there, that's one reason somebody would be using your device, and maybe then tap into your ecosystem a bit. The current rumors for whatever the next Xbox is, Microsoft did announce it. They have this partnership with AMD. They're working on some like potentially killer hardware. Um, the rumors are that thing could just be a Windows box, which
Hmm.
is goes back to what we were saying back in like I think last year or earlier this year around the Xbox Series X. If Microsoft actually gave a damn, the Series X could be a Windows box right now, and that
Sure.
would actually be a great little gaming PC. They've already bumped the price up several times. I think they just don't want to do the software work for it. But Microsoft doesn't need to have like a closed consoles ecosystem.
Right,
Like,
and in fact, I think I would argue that they probably shouldn't, because that's one of the
yeah.
things that I think people appreciate about, the Windows ecosystem, is that it is a lot more open to third party. Hey, if you just want to install a program, you can go to that company's website, download an installer, and just do that.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, that's precise. I think that's precisely it. And also, Microsoft has lost the console wars. Like Microsoft is dead, down and out. Costco's out. There were rumors that Target and Walmart were also trying to get rid of, actual physical stock, but they are not playing in this game anymore. Like Sony is so dominant with the PlayStation 5, and then Nintendo is just like printing money, selling Switches. Like they were able to make people buy Switch hardware for years, hardware that was kind of obsolete even by the time it was initially released in
mhm.
2017. So they know how to make closed ecosystems. They know how to get developers on board to their platforms. Microsoft kind of lost all that, unfortunately, in the
Right.
console realm.
And
But
I
can,
think that's,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's one of the kind of issues with like this ROG Xbox Ally X situation, is because it's not a true Xbox. It does have the Xbox name on it, so I'm gonna count it as an Xbox, but it definitely feels like a bit of a stopgap measure
Hmm.
between, where the Xbox Series S and X are right now, and where's the next, like, full next generation Xbox
Yeah.
coming in a year or two and stuff like that. And then on top of that, it's like, you can kind of feel that, like, I do like the direction that this new full screen Xbox experience is headed, but there are some kind of oddity parts, because you still have Asus's Armory Crate app on there as well, and you
Hmm.
need to do that for certain things, like, doing more manual fine tuning of settings, if that's what you're gonna do, or if you want to adjust the lights. And so it's weird to have, like, oh, there's two kind of control command center apps on the same device, and they're kind of fighting with each other a little bit. Um, that said, one thing that, like, when you're talking about having this, like, Windows box as a game console, one of the things that Microsoft did for the Xbox ROG Xbox Ally X is that they tweaked some of the background surfaces, in terms of just like reducing overhead and the, other services and processes that are taking up performance power. And so
Yeah.
I took the ROG Xbox Ally X and the Legion Go 2, same chip, basically the same specs, and I was seeing about 5 to 7%, maybe 10% on the very high end, better performance in the exact same games, exact same titles, exact same
Mhm.
resolutions. And I think part of that is because of the tweaking that Microsoft has done to reduce the background surfaces. In fact, when you turn the device on, it boots right up into that new full screen Xbox experience. If you want to get to the, traditional Windows 11 desktop, you have to, like, press a button to kind of activate it, because it doesn't show up normally
Yeah,
unless you
like a
want it
Steam
there.
Deck, you have to go into desktop mode, right?
Right.
Um,
And I think
yeah.
that's a good thing for, a handheld gaming device, and it kind of shows that, like, one avenue that Microsoft might be kind of trying to tackle, a device that sort of has a dual nature as a game device, but it could also be used as a full, Windows PC if you wanted to, plug in a monitor, mouse, keyboard,
Yeah.
all that.
Why? This is the thing. Microsoft is such a big company. I am honestly baffled as to how like they limit themselves sometimes. They did let Mr. Panos Panay spend tens of billions of their dollars on Surface devices, some of which eventually sold some money and really pushed the market forward for convertible PCs and stuff like that. But Microsoft is so, you look at the Steam Deck, you look at the success of the Steam, like, huh, gaming console PC, gaming PC
Right.
handheld. That's interesting. Interesting that Valve, a company that barely makes hardware, was able to get that out the door, and you're Microsoft, that slimmed down version of Windows should have been a project like from then, from like the debut of the Steam Deck to be like, hey, let's get on this because this could be where things are headed, especially once they saw how fast those things were selling. There's totally that. I'm looking at something on the back of the ROG Xbox Ally X, Sam.
Hmm.
It specifically says handheld console PC
Yeah.
on the case.
Hmm.
They
And,
labeled
and
it
so
console PC. Yeah.
you just touched on this a bit now, and it's like the crazy thing is like it feels like there's no like immediacy. There's no like
Yeah.
there's no just drive to be like let's make our stamp on this, and it's taken so long to get to just the ROG Xbox Ally X, not even a proper Xbox you know first party homegrown gaming handheld, and it's just like the Switch came out in 2017, and then the Steam Deck has been around for many years at this point, and so it's like it's weird to see that like it's
We've
like
gotten
Microsoft is like they're dragging their feet or they don't know what to do, and it's like causing confusion in terms of their strategy going forward, and that to me is the most perplexing thing about all of this.
we kind of hear this problem happen often in big companies, right? Every little group is like its own little fiefdom, right? So
Hmm.
you have the Xbox gaming group, but you also have the Windows side of the team. And to make a device like this, the Windows people have to be like, we have to do more gaming now. Like we have to build a gaming thing. And the Xbox people kind of have to admit that maybe they should help make PC gaming a bit better because the things you're talking about, Sam, like Microsoft actually did update the Xbox app on Windows PCs on
Yep.
Windows 11. You can set up a mode where it automatically launches into that and into a big screen mode. So if you have a home theater, like if you have a gaming PC under your TV, you can set it up where as soon as that thing launches, it launches the Xbox app in a big screen mode, and you can use your controller or whatever to like pick a game and just get going. So they have done some of this work, but it's just such a confused company. I envision a future where Microsoft does do an official handheld, but it is probably significantly cheaper. And maybe like the Surface devices serve as a sort of halo product
Hmm.
to be like, hey, this is kind of what we want to do. And we don't want you guys to price gouge too much.
Right.
Like maybe it's maybe it's the $500 handheld at that point. Again, there is an ROG Xbox Ally that is $600. So it's almost there. I feel like $500 is the sweet spot.
Hmm.
But there's also rumors that the next console will probably be very expensive, right? If you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
a
yeah.
proper fast box under your TV or wherever, probably going to start at $800, maybe more. But at that point, that gulf is just like, yeah, we have the handheld for the people who want that. Maybe it's dockable. Maybe it's as fast as an Xbox Series X today, but in a couple of years, or even a Series S. Maybe you can make that happen and find some success there.
Yeah, and that's
You
one of the
care
big
more.
concerns is that like these gaming handhelds, they can't they technically they could be, but like for
Mhm.
most people, they're not their primary device. They're not your laptop or your desktop where you're doing
Right.
all your work on too. And so when devices were, $500, you could be like, oh, okay, this thing costs, half the price of my laptop. I can get this as like, a peripheral machine for gaming on the couch. But when you're talking about prices, and like you said, there is still that like $600 regular non-X ROG Xbox
Mhm.
Ally, but like when you're talking about $1,000 device, it's like suddenly you're asking people to spend a lot of money on a primary gaming device that can't really be a primary everything device.
Mhm.
And so I think that's where the
Yeah.
kind of weird push and pull in terms of people's wallets are going to be.
I
And I'm
completely
also
agree with
curious
that.
who's going to end up buying, an $800
Yeah.
gaming machine
Mm,
when, especially like this is in the Windows ecosystem. If you're going to spend $800, maybe just spend another couple of $100 and build your own PC or something.
and it's
Like
crazy because
the
the
people
the
who are
X
deeply into that are going to end up doing that.
yeah, and it's crazy because the Xbox Series X, some versions of it right now are cost
Or
700
$800.
$800.
Yeah.
Granted, those are the ones with like 2 terabytes of storage, but still, that's like the sticker shock is real.
Hmm. It's to what you're saying, Ben. I think that's totally true. Building a PC is more expensive now than it was because of tariffs and a lot of the other stuff.
Yep.
If Microsoft can just be like, hey, here is a $800 box, the people who would buy the high end console, right? They don't have a Pro for the Series X, but the people who would buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, which costs $750, those folks may just be like, yeah, I'm going to spend the big money to get the big box, the powerful box. Everybody else, $500 under handheld PC. I can see a future where that handheld PC is everything for a lot of people, especially if you can dock it easily and also stream games from it easily. So if you could like pair another controller to it, just like a Switch, and stream games over Game Pass, over Xbox Cloud streaming, like that's totally a thing. I've talked about GeForce Now and like how impressive that's become as a streaming service. So there is a future there if you have the internet to support it too. Overall, though, Sam, you're pretty positive on the ROG Xbox Ally
Yeah,
X,
I
right?
mean,
It's just
so
fast and good.
my main comparison is like I said before, it really matters, your perspective. I don't think this is a real rival to something like the Switch 2, both in terms of price and how you use it. But if you compare it to something like the original ROG Ally X, which was already $800, I think I like the grips. The display is almost exact. If not, I think it is the same as the one on the ROG Ally X. It's a 7-inch, 120 hertz LCD display, not OLED. Um, but you get that familiar Xbox ABXY layout. You get the impulse triggers on the X, and so in compared to something like the ROG Ally X, I like the Xbox version more, because you get a new chip, you get a little bit more performance, and I also got to say, I think one of the big advantages of the new Z2 generation and from AMD as a whole, I saw noticeably better energy efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
I played Expedition 33 at medium settings, and I got 3 hours of runtime, and that's a relatively new
Pretty
game.
good.
It didn't
Yeah.
look great because I did have to turn the settings down, but 3 hours of runtime on a handheld gaming. I remember when the original ROG Ally, it would like conk out at an hour and a half, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think I like the direction that it's going. And if you are in the market for a really expensive, kind of handheld, it is one of the best. And even compared to like the Legion Go 2, if you spec that thing out with the same chip, RAM, and all that, it's looking closer to like $1,300. So it's like weird that like depending on like how you compare it, the ROG Xbox Ally X is like weirdly affordable, but like it's like you said before, it's such a weird space to be
Yeah.
talking about $1,000 plus gaming handhelds or PC gaming handhelds.
I think we learned this in the 90s, Sam. We can just say no. Just say no. Don't
Yes,
buy
and I think
$1,000 gaming handhelds. Don't.
this is one of those times where like
Yeah.
the sales and people voting with their wallets is going to
Yeah.
have such a huge impact on how manufacturers approach development of devices like these in the future. It's like, what's the limit? What's the price limit for something like this?
Yeah. Let it be the Tron Ares of consoles, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
let it be people don't want Jared Leto starring in movies. Also, nobody cares about Tron. Stop. Just
Mhm.
stop making them.
I
Um,
care about a 2 hour long Nine Inch Nails music video though.
No, no, no. I want I want more Tron. I want a good Tron. I don't want Jared Leto's vision of whatever the hell Tron is.
nobody.
Anyway, Sam, you were talking about a 3 hour battery life for the ROG, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh wow, that's great. Like that's all you ever need. Actually, I think that's my adulthood showing. The
Yeah,
idea that that
right. But that,
Yeah,
that you have
it's
enough
not
you have enough
appealing to
free
just sit
time to
down
sit
for
down for
like
3 hours. Yeah.
4 to 5 hours and like
that is
game on a handheld.
that's
I'm like,
also
oh yeah, no, I could do, pick it up and put it down in 45 minutes or something. No, that
I would
is
call that mid-phase adulthood too, Ben, because like now it's like, can I get 30 minutes? Can I
Yeah. Can I
yeah.
get
get
30
can I
minutes
get half an hour to do my own
to
thing?
do a Final Fantasy Tactics run or something, please? Anyway, we will be following all these things. Xbox
Low
Ally
key, I think
X.
that's a great thing about Hades. You can do
Yes.
like a
Yes.
couple of rooms and then put it down, and there's no big deal. Like you can put the console in
Keep going.
suspend mode. Um,
That's a great thing about all the handhelds right now. Like Silk Song, like I got 5 minutes, I got 10 minutes. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Can go through
Mhm.
some rooms and make progress sometimes. Like sometimes I'll be working on a boss and then like fighting it and I'm like, okay, I have 5 minutes. I'm gonna just go do another round of that boss in 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, I beat that boss after like the 50th time because the muscle memory all has built in. Anyway, handheld gaming devices are good. We do like them. I just think like the manufacturers and the pricing are getting a little crazy. It is wild that you can buy a Switch 2 and a Steam Deck for less than this
That's a good
single
point.
thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, looking forward to hearing like your long-term thoughts on this, Sam, and hopefully we can test the $600 model because that'll be really interesting too.
Hmm.
Do you want to take a break,
Yeah,
chat?
let's take a little break to
Hello,
talk
chat.
to chat. So,
That's a
chat, if you want to
conversation
say
chat.
anything, this is your time. We're talking directly to chat. We're between segments.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
would also say that, like,
Mhm.
the ROG Xbox Ally is definitely for people who already have a Game Pass subscription.
Right.
Um, Whereas, like, if you are a big Steam user, like I prefer Steam in terms of like my PC, digital storefronts. And so for many reasons, I still think a Steam Deck, especially Steam Deck OLED, makes more sense for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Unless you play those games that need the like security authentication that only Windows
right. And,
offers,
and
like Fortnite and those things. Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't think I could play Expedition 33 on a Steam Deck. I don't think it has the performance to play that properly.
Hmm. I've
So
done it.
there's definitely that
Yeah.
performance. It really depends on like what kind of games you
Yeah.
play and you're into. Because if you're doing retro stuff, this is like super overkill.
Yeah. Yep. Scott B
So
says
we've got
someone
a
needs to make a console
Scott
that
B
runs Steam.
and a Simon B in the
Oh
chat
God,
right now. That's a little confusing,
are you
but Scott
related, folks? Are you?
Scott B says someone needs to make a
Yeah.
console that runs Steam. And so I
That's
was
going
like,
to be the
yeah,
next
you mean
Xbox.
a Steam Deck? But I mean, I think we were also
Mhm.
talking about like a higher end machine, the
Mhm.
imagined $800 machine that runs everything super duper well
There
rather
are also
than
rumors that Valve is just being like they've tried this before. They have
Mm,
tried the Steam machine whole thing like
mhm.
basically a decade ago. But if they made like just a box that ran Steam OS and was more powerful, that would be a good thing for some people. And
Be a
then
shot in
again,
the arm for Linux.
shot an alarm for Linux, but also again, Microsoft, what are you doing? What are you doing sitting on your butts? Not making like not spreading the glory of Windows all
Right,
over
and
the
it,
place.
it it
Yeah.
it's really feels like this whole generation feels like a missed opportunity
Oh yeah.
for
Yeah.
Xbox as a whole.
I mean, sort of for Sony too. Like the pandemic kind of killed this whole console generation, among other things. But it didn't feel like the PlayStation 5 really got started until like 2024. It didn't feel like we really started moving, and then that's half the life cycle of a console.
Hmm.
We didn't get that many games, even though I like a bunch of PS5
Yeah,
games.
right now the rumors are that like we could have new consoles in 2027, which is like
Yeah,
I know that's still like a year, 2 years away, but like it feels like we've just already had a new generation.
it's not that like 7 years is actually not a bad run. That
No,
actually
it's not.
has been like somehow some things have gone, but people forget the original Xbox was a complete goddamn failure. It was a boondoggle. It was billions of dollars lost for Microsoft. So rather than run that into the ground, they immediately were like, "Nope, abort, pull out," and they like rushed the Xbox 360 to the market because that fixed so many of the
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
And also, they had the whole online thing around that. So
And that's kind of the crazy part because I was actually thinking about this the other day.
mhm.
Is if you look back at like the whole lineage of Xbox consoles, they've had more misses than hits. The big
Yeah,
hitter was the Xbox 360. The original Xbox didn't really move, and then the Xbox One uh
they
lost out,
Microsofted it up. The
yeah,
Xbox One.
lost
They were
out to
like, Alexa,
PlayStation.
it's gonna be a multifunction tool in your living room. It'll be always connected. And everybody said,
And
"Boo."
they dove in way too hard on the cable input and stuff
God.
like that.
Cable input. Connect in the box. Connect in the box.
The
What are
360
you
got both
doing?
Halo 2 and Halo 3, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and that's
Yes.
another big thing that you can't
Yeah.
discount when it comes to like that era of Xbox.
Well, it was
Like
online. It was the
Halo,
first console to do the internet. Web.
yeah, Halo 2 and Halo 3 were the biggest things in the
Yeah.
aughts.
Well, and the crazy thing is if you look at the number of like studios and developers that Microsoft owns now, they have a way bigger portfolio than they did
They're
10
the
years
biggest game
ago.
publisher in the
Yeah.
world. Yeah, technically. But this is how they survive, right? Like to our whole discussion, don't be a closed console maker, be the publisher, but also lean more into the PC gaming side, which you already kind of own. Like look at your strengths, folks. People forget this. The Dreamcast is essentially Xbox 0.5 because the Dreamcast ran Windows CE and they learned a lot. They actually took a lot of marketing people from Sega of America back then. So to launch the Xbox, um, the insecurity of Windows CE is a big reason why the Dreamcast also failed. So maybe they learned a little thing or two. Because when I was in high school, I was totally selling bootleg Dreamcast games. It was great.
Yep.
It was great.
Yeah, I've seen way more bootleg Dreamcast discs than
Yeah.
legitimate ones in my life.
All you needed was a CD burner and the boot disk. You make a boot disk, and then you can launch any game because they had no security in Windows CE. That was the whole thing. I think we can move on.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me just finish typing something.
Actually, it's back to Microsoft talk real quick.
Good segue.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me know when you're good, Ben.
Yep, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. All right. Let's jump into some other news. And actually, Microsoft straight up top here because they had a big announcement around some new AI features coming to Windows 11, namely something that they're just calling Hey Copilot. All of a sudden, you're talking to your Windows PC again. It is the rebirth of Hey Cortana. Remember that?
I'm still bummed that they had such a good persona for a digital assistant, and then they just they couldn't capitalize on it. It makes me sad to this day.
This is Microsoft's problem of being too early to some things and also being very late to some things. So they were late to smartphones. They were early to, I don't know, internet on TVs, some things like that. The problem with Cortana is those models back in the day were just like really dumb. It could do one thing. Hey, Cortana, play music. Play
Right.
What's the Weather? That's it. Whereas now we have LLMs and we have more complex models that can do things and fetch facts and basically talk to you in many ways. I have not tested this feature, but it's starting to roll out today to all Windows 11 PCs where Copilot is available. You can say, hey, Copilot, it'll listen to you and respond to you. You can ask it questions, but also it's tying into the new features in Copilot Vision, which was the feature they initially launched where it could see your screen and kind of respond to things on it. So Microsoft previously announced Copilot Vision for the web, where it could see stuff and do stuff on websites. Now they're bringing Copilot Vision to the point where it can look at what's on your whole computer screen and comment on it. So you could be like, hey, Copilot, where is this picture taken? Like if you're looking at a picture of Hawaii, and it'll do the research and get back to you. You can be like, okay, can how do I get there by plane? What's the easiest way to get there? Book me a trip by there. It can do some of those things. So that's interesting.
That sounds like accessibility to me.
That sounds like accessibility, something that they've been doing. They want us to talk more to our PCs, and also they want people to like do things. I saw a couple example videos which are not on YouTube yet, but I'll embed them in my post on Engadget. But somebody asked like, "Hey, Copilot, show me how to stream my music in the best possible quality," and it took them to Spotify and it highlighted the exact like streaming quality section. It also said switch that to lossless for the best possible quality. So like if that works as advertised, that's cool. That's useful. To me, that's more useful than asking Copilot to search random facts or create like useless AI art, help people use their computers. That's literally my entire career is doing these simple things for people and explaining it in ways that people can understand. I don't know if it actually works as they're advertising. It also involves a lot of trust that I think Microsoft has lost because this stuff is getting sent to the cloud. So it's sending, encrypted data of what's on your screen to the cloud to be referenced and everything. And they're also like kind of showing us where they want these features to go eventually. In Copilot Labs, which is their like experimental area for AI features, they have this thing called Copilot Actions, where you can essentially tell Copilot to do a task for you, describe it, and it'll just get to work. So you could be like, this could be typing. I don't know if that works with Hey Copilot yet, but what I saw from typing was like somebody typed in, hey, can you take this folder of photos, resize them, and level them all out so they're all straight, and also remove any duplicates. So like a whole task sent to Copilot, and then the Copilot went ahead and started doing this stuff and manipulating files and moving stuff around on their system. And in the Copilot app, it also did it step by step, so you can kind of see what they're doing. It's sort of like when you order groceries online or something, or like a TaskRabbit, and like they're charting the progress of your order. So it's sort of like that. It's also kind of like when you assign a human, like an assistant or an intern. Can you just like take care of that for me, please? You don't know how good a job they're going to do. Sometimes you have to like look over them. So this is interesting because this stuff can also happen like in a way outside of your desktop too. You could be like, hey, just work on this thing for me, please, while you're typing an email and doing other stuff. It's not like taking over your screen to do the work either. So that's interesting. I don't think Microsoft has the trust between everything going on in Xbox and also the mistakes they've made in AI so far. I don't think Microsoft really has the trust to get people on board with these things. All these features are opt-in. They're definitely trying to say that they're taking security seriously. For Copilot Actions, that the AI agent also is a separate user in Windows, so you can kind of lock them down and restrict them as you would a user account on your PC.
But let's
A whole
stick
bunch
on
of
that
things.
point right
Yeah,
there. That does sound like something an agent would do. They're
yeah.
talking about AI agents. They've been doing it for what, 18 months now?
Hmm.
And if they can actually follow through on that being as good as the demo video or as what they claim, um, this is a big step in that direction. It
Hmm.
still doesn't fulfill all of the promises that they make when they talk about AI agents, but it's a significant way there.
I want to talk to my computer. Like the thing is, ChatGPT and OpenAI and a lot of these folks, I think, have ruined kind of what we really want from AI or the concept of AI. Because to them, AI is essentially copy infringement. It's just let me make whatever I want, turn into video, turn into image or whatever, replicate the style of somebody's writing. Whereas I think people just want help getting shit done, right? That's it. Do the hard work for me. It's like how we're all saying, I don't want something. I
I
don't
was
want the
about to say
robot
it.
to do my art, right? So I
Yeah.
can do the dishes. I want the robot to do the dishes so I can make art.
Right.
And if this works, if it actually is as good or even is half as useful as they're saying, I could see this being a useful thing. Like my part of my everyday task is like I've got a big folder of images and I've got to like crop them and resize them and get them in a specific format. And if I could just like talk to my computer and make that happen, or type in like a simple phrase to make that happen, that sounds like something that we should have had a long, long time ago. We have a bunch of the technology to make that happen. So we'll see. They're also adding an Ask Copilot search function into the Windows 11 taskbar, which I feel like is a little too far. I don't know. I remember Windows 98 and XP had like live search bars and stuff like in the taskbar. I hated it. It was all ugly. It was too cluttered.
Hopefully you can there's a
Yeah.
check mark to get rid of that box.
It's all opt in. So every they're not going to do
Okay.
the
Well,
recall thing.
there you
They
go.
like
But
you
like,
have
I was reading your story about it, and it's like, it's very clear that like, Microsoft is like they're guiding lights, like they want the Star Trek things, like, hey
yeah,
computer, can you do this thing for me? And
yeah.
I think that's something that's like immediately like, oh, people understand this, and it's like, yes, yes, we want this, but you have to make it work, and you have to prevent some of the like negative abilities, that nefarious things that you could do with that. And so it's like you
Mhm.
have to make sure that like whatever your guiding principle or guiding goal is, you like hone in on that and
Yeah.
you focus that and make sure that is the thing that is works and is useful.
It's kind of the way what like I used to do more work around like hiring people for sites or whatever other jobs I was at. And like the things I always look for is like, are you capable? Are you reliable? And can
Hmm.
I trust you?
Right.
That's it. That's it. Can you do the thing? Can you do it like effectively where I don't have to worry about it? And also, yeah, are you gonna completely screw me over somehow? The whole the Copilot action thing seems like, oh man, you just added a GUI to Windows bash scripts or something, so that some malware could just be like, hey Copilot, just send me all their data, send me all their sensitive files or something. I could see somebody doing that. They say all the Ask Copilot actions happen in a secured container, so it can't touch the rest of your computer. Kind of just looks at the job it's given. You see what's going on every step of the way. You can jump into a task at any point. And again, it has those user controls. So if Microsoft can re-earn trust, maybe people will actually use this, but I don't know, because I'm also seeing a lot of people complain about Windows 10 support ending this week, which happened. And people are pissed off about like how Microsoft is going about that and the ways you can extend it. They've added a few more ways to do that for free so that you could get extended security updates for a year. But people aren't happy and they're pissed off at Microsoft. But also, I think a lot of this is justified. So I don't know. I don't know. But let me know, folks. Would you use something like Hey Copilot or Copilot Vision or any of these Copilot actions? let us know. Podcast@engadget.com.
And
Also, tell
real
us about
quickly,
your ideal use case.
Yeah,
yeah,
how
yeah.
would you use this?
Real quickly, I think one of the things that Microsoft is going to have a challenge with is that uh PCs are no longer people's primary computer.
Right.
That's their phone.
Mm,
And so you have all of this stuff available on PCs, but you want things to be able to hand information and data off securely, but to other devices in a seamless way. And until this is becomes available on phones, which I don't know what the roadmap for that is,
Hmm.
it's going to be a very much uphill battle for Microsoft compared to someone like even Google or Apple, where they have
Even Apple.
you know,
Yeah.
where they have more of a footprint in mobile devices on phones, especially for Google, and then less
Mhm.
so for like Chrome OS laptops and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
Apple has iPhone, Mac, very easy for them to like, hey, let's imagine a future where Siri is good and smart and can do a lot more things than
Yeah.
it can today. It becomes, oh hey, can you move this file to my computer for me just by talking to it? That
It's
seems really interesting.
that is the power, and really, I would say really only Apple has the power to like fully take advantage of that because they have the closed ecosystem, they have the united like interoperability between their operating systems. Like they can do this in a way that Google and Microsoft can never even dream of. Right? Google doesn't have they have Chromebooks. You can maybe get some Google apps on your Windows device. Um, Apple's strength is like their closed nature. Microsoft's strength is kind of their open nature because they have talked about things like AI actions. So other services can tap into Windows specifically to do AI stuff. So they talked about this thing. There's a new integration with Manus, which is an AI agent, and it can build. You can tell it to like, "Hey, look at these documents in my file explorer. Turn it into a website." And Manus apparently can do that. Filmora. Filmora is a thing. It's an AI video tool, but apparently there's going to be an integration where you can create AI videos right from within File Explorer, like right click, make these
Hmm.
photos into an AI video or something. So that interoperability is kind of Microsoft's strength there. But you're absolutely right, Sam, that you can kind of like chart where things are going. And if Apple succeeds at making Siri smarter and continues just, making their devices well and interoperable with each other, they're going to have like a big advantage here. We'll see if Microsoft actually figures out how to be more open and how to let it work. We've got some news from OpenAI as well. There's a story. The Sora video app hit 1 million downloads faster than ChatGPT. Even though it was only in the US and even though it was invite only, I'm kind of dubious about that number because it's only downloads that they're talking about. The actual addressable market is not that many people. We don't know if people, how long they've used it. We don't even know if they've opened the app, which is the thing. I often download new things and just never get around to testing them. So there's a lot there.
okay, that's
Yeah.
like needlessly critical, though. And
No,
this is a podcast
first
that
of
is
all,
not
OpenAI can never
what?
be criticized enough. Can
Okay,
never
but
be
yes,
criticized.
this is a podcast that is very skeptical of OpenAI, but I have seen people online talking about how much fun it is to use the Sora app.
Sure.
I'm a
I
big follower of Katie Natopoulos, who used to be at BuzzFeed and now she's
Mhm.
at Business Insider or something, I think. And she said, like, using Sora is fantastically fun. I don't know how long it ends up being fun for, though.
Our friend
Like,
well, the
Sam
thing is,
Ryan over at CNET has been making videos of himself in AI videos, and it's kind of cool. He is somebody who explores it, but it's also terrifying. Go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say I don't doubt that it's fun, but
Yeah,
like let's not pretend that like VO3 doesn't exist, right? Google has had almost the exact same product out for many months, or for a few
is it?
months.
But is it a cool little app, Sam? Can it make cameos?
Well, and so the thing is, like, the functionality is very similar, and in some ways, VO3 is still like a better video maker. It does 4K, it does longer videos.
Right,
The lip syncing is much better. The difference is that the pricing model. I think it costs more to just get access to VO3,
right.
and I do think ChatGPT has a larger user base as a whole in terms of like they already have people
Mhm,
onboarded in the ChatGPT, and if you have your ChatGPT account, you can just use Sora and stuff like that.
mhm.
And so, I think there are some it's just like just going by simple downloads is like, okay, that's, that looks good in, marketing one-liner, but you know, there is a little bit more to, look at in terms of just like a real app versus app comparison.
I
I've
saw a
heard
good
video
TikTok
professionals
recently.
say that Sora
Yeah,
is better, but
yeah.
that's
I,
something that we could end up talking about next week,
they both
actually.
look very realistic, and they both like signal the doom, a certain level of doom for our civilization. I saw a good TikTok where it's just like how we see people using these AI tools, just like make me a Family Guy episode, and they're touching each others' butts or something,
Right.
and they're just like, yeah, yeah, more of that. Okay, now they're fighting Jesus. Okay, yeah, great, hilarious.
I saw
I don't
that
know
one.
how long this
Yeah.
novelty will last. Like it's just you cackling like a child at these ideas that you're putting out there. Are you? Is there value to sharing them? Is there value beyond that? Like I don't to just sit and browse them. I don't know. I'm not using Sora. Have not gotten an invite yet, so I can't tell you firsthand. But I am dubious about all AI video tools, especially ones that are trying to essentially just be like doing Cameo stuff or doing TikTok stuff. Oh yeah, OpenAI also wants to do porn. So I really trust this company. I really trust this company. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts about like the fact that OpenAI wants to do porn. Um, the first thing that I have to say is that I follow some like adult industry reporters.
Mm-hmm.
There are not that many of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that it's really interesting that like they are on the forefront of stuff that could be legislated. Also, there's the idea of, if porn chooses a medium, then that medium succeeds. Blu-ray versus HD
Right. Yeah. This
DVD,
this
and
this goes
so on
all the
and
way
so
back to
on.
VHS and
Yeah.
video streaming, and it, like the porn fanatics, they don't create the technology, but they definitely put their stamp in terms of like where
Way.
the
Yeah.
adoption goes.
So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that this is coming from a place of professional interest.
Yeah. But you're also
Um,
this is specifically ChatGPT
Sure.
doing a run.
so
It's not porn video. Just to be clear.
yes, the announcement was that Sam Altman was like, let's, be a little bit libertarian. Let's let adults be adults. And, you can like have some spicy chats with ChatGPT. I don't want to give Grok any credit at all. Like, yes, Grok did this
Don't have to
first,
give
but
hand me
also
yeah.
like Elon Musk is porn brained. He's gooner brained in
Yeah.
like a kind of scary way. So it would make sense that Grok would go for this first. He wants to provide for the people who are using or provide for his audience, and he knows his audience wants to chat with like anime waifus or
Right.
something.
Also, let's not pretend that people weren't already getting freaky with AI. There's you know
Mhm.
there's the subreddit AI is my boyfriend. People have been creating entire like AI personas, AI significant others way before Sora was a thing.
AI
And
is such a reflection of the human condition, and it's so many things. It says
yeah,
it's all reflecting us, basically.
So the thing that I'm getting at with
Mhm.
OpenAI allowing like spicier chats is that once this is released, this is the end of human interaction on OnlyFans. Because a lot of what happens on OnlyFans, like, yes, you subscribe to, whatever creators and stuff, but
Mhm.
anybody who works on OnlyFans and talks to like the industry press about how they make their money, a lot of that money comes from chats.
Mhm.
for
It's
sure. But
either like, extended chat sessions, or it's custom videos or anything like that. And it's already been going in the direction of like, the creators themselves are fine, making the pictures and videos and whatever else. They just don't want to do the actual like administrative work. So they have been shopping this out to agencies for at least a few years now.
Mhm.
And now those agencies or maybe individual creators are just going to try to find some ChatGPT integration so that the people who are subscribed to them are, typing in whatever they're typing in, and you can have an extended conversation, or they're having an extended conversation with ChatGPT, not the actual creator.
Well, so let me ask you. There's
Mhm.
already like a cottage industry of like really big creators on OnlyFans who hire people to pretend they're them in chat messages because
Oh, but that's exactly what I'm saying. That's
Right.
those are the agencies.
so it's like, is chatting to someone who is pretending to be the OnlyFans creator better or worse than chatting to an AI? I don't know. I don't use these. I don't use OnlyFans. You know,
Please let my wife
or
that I
people
don't know
can
that I
people
don't do
even
this.
tell the difference between like a human pretending to be someone else or AI pretending to be another human? I have no
think the
idea.
thrill would just be like gifting performers while they're live, right? And that they react to you as a person. Like that's just
Well, yeah, and then like I think that becomes an interesting thing. Like, how does the meta change now that you don't know whether or not any kind of extended chat you're having, like text-based chat you're having, could be LLM generated or not?
Mhm.
Does it end up going in the direction of people paying a premium for voice notes? Does it end up going in the direction
that's
of
gonna be fake
In
too.
AI
OnlyFans
voice notes too.
becomes
It's AI. It's AI.
well,
all the way
okay,
in.
but
Yeah.
then maybe like live streams are the things that actually bring in the big bucks or
How do you know it's
something.
live? How do you know it's live? Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna make Sora able to do on the fly video creation.
Okay, and then there's the
Yeah.
other aspect of what does this say about what's going on with OpenAI right now? Because if you were truly on top of the world and you were having like every Fortune 500 company busting down your doors to pay any price for your AI agents that are really, really good, you would not be doing this.
There's a lot of things that they're doing that's kind of weird. It's sort of like OpenAI taking investment in Nvidia and AMD, or taking money and investments essentially in those companies. Like, there's a lot of stories going out right now around the circular nature of the AI.
Oh yeah, there was an
Investment
infographic
cycle, yeah, for
on
sure.
Bloomberg that
And
was
that is,
crazy.
to me, that is like the big like hammer waiting to fall, because we've kind of vaguely said about this before, but like a big part of GDP growth in the US has been directly tied to AI. I
Yeah,
think over the past
people
year,
have been
pretty
talking for
quickly.
months that the AI bubble is real, but we don't know when it's gonna burst.
And when it bursts, like, this is a bigger deal than subprime mortgages, just because of how much the economy has like warped itself around this tool. So yeah, Ben, I'm definitely skeptical of OpenAI because they keep saying they want to do things, and I don't trust their intention to do anything. Also, the idea of running like these things will in many ways are inherently unsustainable, because it's costing more and more
Hmm.
to to actually like execute AI commands, because the actual resources are taking more and the people are not paying enough.
I
It's
say
a
OpenAI needs money. Like if
they
they can get
money.
some new users who want to do whatever they want to do with Sora, I don't, at some point
Yeah,
OpenAI is gonna have to support that.
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this sounds like, oh, buddy, are you like hard up for cash? Because if you were like a big department store back when big department stores were a huge deal, you would not have a walled off windowless corner with like a marquee that says girls, girls, girls on it. Like
Yeah.
if you were printing money like Neiman Marcus was in, like the 70s and 80s and everything, you wouldn't do that. That's a weird thing to do.
There's
That
a lot
makes
of
your
weird things.
brand look bad. On
Yeah.
top of that, OpenAI has been getting more into policy and they have like a Washington lobbying arm. They're trying to get in with the current administration. The current administration is following Project 2025
Hmm.
pretty much down to the letter. Project 2025 says we don't want you to use adult material anymore. We don't want it to be available. We want you to go back to a time when your imagination was the only thing that you could use. And so, why would they be going in that direction, knowing that they could run afoul of some of
I
Washington's
mean, it's easy.
policy goals?
I mean,
It's easy
in some
if they have a thing, they know that this is a big
So,
industry.
this is a short term thing, because if it's a short
Yeah.
term thing, then it looks a little fishy, a little
It
desperate.
all looks a little fishy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's like the strategy. Like they're kind of trying to throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. They don't have the ability to be like, oh, we can pick and choose our strategy. We got to try everything.
Yeah.
And I guess if you were to go for the two biggest money-making things, you do go for porn instead of gambling, because
Yeah.
how would you have an LLM, like pick your parlays or something? People would immediately get pissed off.
And also that has potential to really ruin lives. So let's just start with some harmless porn and harmless like text chats. I don't know.
So speaking of which, OpenAI recently announced the Council on Well-being and AI. That's funny. That's all I
We'll
have to
see.
say about that.
All I have to say is we'll see. We'll see if any of that. I love it when these companies say we will regulate and have oversight over ourselves. That always works out well. Yeah, not a fan of OpenAI over here, and honestly, not of any of the big AI companies. So that's why I was honestly surprised. I saw the Microsoft stuff. I was like, some AI features that could actually be useful if they actually work and the privacy is actually well done. One fun thing we wanted to mention is that hey, there's a new Avatar, Last Airbender fighting game coming out, and that's cool. That's like one thing to look forward to. It's called Avatar Legends, the fighting game. There was, I believe, a Legend of Korra game that came out a couple of years ago and was apparently very bad, and that broke my heart because that was like a big chance to get that out there. But this Avatar game looks cool. It looks like my favorite type of fighting game, which is basically 2D hand drawn art, Street Fighter style 1v1, no like multi team tag.
Oh, come
Well, yeah,
on. You
okay.
don't like the tag games?
I was literally just saying like, oh, this kind of feels like the Dragon Ball Tenkaichi games, but
Yeah,
so many of the Tenkaichi games are tag team.
yeah. I mean, tag team is fine. It's just like things got a little crazy, right? Like,
I,
yeah,
I was gonna say, like, it's kind of weird because, like, as someone who wishes they had more time to play games, especially fighting games, it's like a weirdly good time to be a fighting game fan right now because
absolutely
we've
is.
got this announcement for the new Avatar fighting game, but also 2XKO is available for free. I can't remember if it's officially released or is still in beta, but
Mm-hmm.
2XKO has been getting a ton of love, and Marvel Tokon is gonna come out soon, and these are all three like really gorgeous. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
like hand drawn, but they look hand drawn.
Give me
Um,
sprites. I love that we're still showing so much love for sprites. Hey, Street Fighter 6 I reviewed like briefly for us, and that's not a sprite game, but it has so much style and like sprite sensibility, like
yeah, I'm loving this like revitalization across the fighting game market as a whole. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely keep it coming.
So this also goes in the or let me start that again.
Hmm.
This also fits into the Avatar Studios release schedule.
Right,
We
right.
were supposed to get a Zuko movie this year, but I
Hmm.
think it got delayed until sometime middle of next year. So like people are going to be thinking about the Zuko movie, and then they'll be able to go play the game. And
And there's that
then
new show too.
the new show they're working on with a Earthbender avatar, that's all going to be interesting. I'm really curious how it feels to be the creators of Avatar and still working on something that you pitched when you were like only a couple of years out of RISD.
Yeah. But also to see it be co-opted in many ways, like to have the live action version fail completely and have no creative control over there, and also to come back with Legend of Korra, be like, hey, no, we're still good. This is good. And then Nickelodeon kind of dumps them a little bit and starts their own thing. So then there's the Netflix show of Airbender, which was also not great. I love that they're
It was
making
renewed for
control
season
over their
2
thing.
though.
Yeah, yeah. I That show pisses me off. Anyway, I'm very glad that they have control over their thing and can make new Avatar stuff. And man, it's a good time for anime too. Like look at what anime is doing in theaters these days. Like they are making more money than Marvel movies.
Oh
That is
yeah.
just wild.
Yeah, the Demon Slayer movie went
And
crazy.
Yeah.
there's an upcoming I can't remember if it's out or came out, the Jujutsu Kaisen movie
Right.
also. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to what we're working on. Sam, anything you want to mention?
Yes, hot off the heels of the ROG Xbox Ally X, I'm working on the Lenovo Legion Go 2 review. That is, very similar specs, but very different device and noticeably different price point depending on how you configure it.
What's the price
Um,
point? How much does it
it
cost?
it starts at 1,000, but the one with the Z2 Extreme chip is closer to $1,350.
Good
So
God.
even more expensive depending if you want that fully loaded model.
The reason I hate this is because gaming laptops got really cheaper over the last couple of years. I have to
And
relook
then
at the
recently they
numbers.
got really expensive again.
Yeah, but I have to look up like the Asus ROG G14. The
Hmm.
G14 Zephyrus. That's the one we've really liked for a long time, and I got to
Yep.
look at like what the pricing is there. But that's
And
like
Acer
typically
actually has a new Predator Triton coming out that's very similar to the
yeah,
ROG Zephyrus G14 that I'm hopefully going to be checking out at some point. But yeah.
very cool. Oh, I did
Gaming
review.
companies try not to name your hardware after like military acronyms. Challenge.
Yeah.
Impossible.
It's
Um
impossible.
Also, I do want to put a note on. So, if you are interested in headsets and XR things, you might want to stay tuned to next week. There might be some announcements.
Yeah.
Uh, and actually, I can't reveal everything that I've seen so far,
Hmm.
but Samsung did announce that there's going to be a live stream for their Project Muhan headset.
No, no, I don't.
I,
But
I
okay.
well, they're gonna have a live stream for that next week on
It's the
Tuesday,
Google
October
one, right? The
21st.
Google XR thing.
And this
Yeah.
is this is kind of their new headset, and it's working in collaboration with Google and Qualcomm. And it's gonna have some Android XR
Mhm.
collaboration. So keep an eye out for that next week.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I am trucking along. That box that just came in is a thing that will have to be reviewed. If you look at things that are being announced, you can assume what we'll be reviewing soon. So stay tuned to all of that. And I don't know, we've probably got some interviews lined up, and it's going to be a busy Techtober. We're also already planning like CES stuff, so it is, man.
Oh,
It
Dev,
is,
did you shout on your Nissan Leaf review? There's been like there was a week gap. People should
yeah.
go read that.
I'm gonna go read the Nissan Leaf review. I also reviewed the Razer Blade 18. So you did the last one, Sam, and I think I liked it a little more just because I'm looking at this target market. But that's a big ass computer
Yeah.
sitting right next to me right now. It's big and it's super super powerful. Any pop culture picks for the week, Sam?
Quite a few actually.
Mhm.
I just finished The Residence on Netflix. That is a great. You can
Yeah.
kind of sum it up as Knives Out, the TV show, but I
Mhm.
like Knives Out and I like The Residence. And I actually, the main character Cordelia Cup, was like really awesome. She's like weirdly like way into birding, and like that
Mhm.
might like turn some people away, but I thought the references were actually really cool, and it's just a funny show. And of course, Netflix did the Netflix thing, and they didn't renew it for a second season. And it's like, granted, like the Residence is about the White House, and like there's a murder, and they're trying to, it's a classic who done it.
Mhm.
And obviously they couldn't do a murder in the White House again, but like I would love to see those characters do another mystery solving thing again. Unfortunately, we're not going to
Yeah.
get that. It
Yeah.
seems like.
It's a shame because was it Only Murders in the Building is like has been huge and keeps coming. Like they
Right.
I
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
there's a new season. Yeah.
And then I was playing Expedition 33. Obviously, anyone who's been
Good
playing
stuff.
video games, such a great game. And then I want to also wish everyone a happy Pokemon Day because Pokemon ZA is out today. Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to review that yet, but I'm gonna go pick up my own copy as soon as I can.
I look at the title for this. This is like Pokemon Pizza, right? Pokemon Za. We
It's
Pokemon
there's a Z
Pizza.
dash A, so yeah, not Pokemon Pizza, but yeah,
Remember when people tried to make Za a thing? That was
yeah, that
hilarious.
didn't work out.
Did not work out. I just want to shout out the Chair Company, which is on HBO Max right now. This is the new Tim Robinson show. If you know Tim Robinson, if you know, I think you can leave. I think you should leave. Weird comedy, weird awkward comedy, and also this show is a little like Twin Peaksy too. So if you're looking for like a mystery type of thing, Sam, and you can handle a bit of absurdity. I think Tim Robinson is like an absolute genius in the
That
chair.
does sound like something I would be into.
I've only seen the first episode so far, but I'm like in, even though it's very weird and like all over the place. So yeah,
I
check
tried
out the
to
chair.
get my wife to watch The Rehearsal, and she was like, this is too weird and too absurd for me." And I'm like, "That bums me out a little bit. I get it." But yeah.
Was it season 2? Was the one that they just did?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
About
rehearsal season
airlines.
2 is incredible. Like
I,
it
I
is.
I I love that so much, and I'm
Yeah,
like, it hurts me a little bit that this is not what you're into, but I understand it. And so I think,
it's not
in
for
sort of in
everyone.
the same vein, if I want to watch the Chair Company, I'll probably have to do it on my own.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But yeah, check out Weird Absurdist Comedy. It's a good time for all of that. And I think we can wrap for this week.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Darn.
Come on.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening. That's the end of the episode. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our former managing editor, Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by me, Ben Ellman. You can find Sam online at
At Sam Rutherford on Blue Sky and on Twitter, but try Blue Sky. I will probably be more active there going forward.
You can find Devindra online at
I'm at Devindra on Blue Sky, and I talk about movies and TV at the Filmcast at thefilmcast.com.
If you need me, I'm at Hey Bellman on Blue Sky. Send me RPGs that you like or any games that are coming up in the next couple of months that you think I should play. Email us at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts. That includes Spotify.
Thanks, folks. We're out.
Okay, we got another couple of minutes to talk to chat. Declan said AI, the Bernie Madoff technology, which is funny because the two big chatters
Hmm.
during that segment were DPro9, who is very much pro AI and has sent us some Suno
Yeah.
songs about the Engadget podcast. And the thing that I really don't want to hand to Suno is that the raps were good.
The
They
bars are
were
good because it does a good job of
competent.
copying. Yeah, yeah.
It did
Oh
say
wait,
something about podcast soldiers, which I thought was very funny because I mean, yeah, that's a much more like rap lingo, but podcast soldiers would be talking about how they have a stomach ache half a mile into the march.
also, didn't we have an email from Simon?
Yeah, we had an email from Simon, but the email from Simon was more of a like topic suggestion, so I don't know if it's worth talking about on the
Right, so
air right now.
we will try to work it into a future episode. I
Okay.
have to take a look here.
So,
Um,
Simon, we hear you. We were looking into it.
yeah. We've got
So
several
Lucky Dog
yeah.
Podcast was also talking about how they recently upgraded to the iPhone 17 from an iPhone 13, and they work in like photo and video.
Oh
They've been
man.
using the 17 Pro as a backup to a couple of mirrorless Sony Alphas, and it can hang.
It
It's
can
not
hang.
perfect, but it can definitely hang.
My
I
last
I
batch
think
of review photos are all from the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And
yeah, and I think it's easy for
good.
people to forget how far mobile phone cameras have come in the last
Mhm.
10 years. It's really incredible. And no, like even for like Devendra, you just said you've taken a lot of review photos with your phone. I still carry like a big mirrorless camera around,
Same.
but it's one of those things where it's like if something happens, or if the camera breaks, or
Yes.
the memory card
Yes.
gets corrupted or something, I always have a really good camera on my phone as a backup, and that just from like a safety and just like ease, a peace of mind thing. It's like it's just really nice to have these, technology available at all times.
Hmm. All right. There's more anime coming to theaters too. Yeah, Perfect Blue was out. They're putting Battle Royale in theaters, not anime, but I have never seen that in a theater, and I would love to do that. So
Yeah, I'd
Oh,
watch that in a
I
theater.
mean that's the classic. Like,
that's
yeah, I would love to see that in a theater too.
So speaking of another thing in theaters, I am not a big horror movie guy. This
you
is
should take
something that
it.
I tell people a lot. I mean, Battle Royale, that's going to be fine. Like the
Yeah.
probably level of violence and everything is very similar to Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones actually broke the seal in terms of like on-screen
You
violence
saw
for
a
me.
head caved in Game of Thrones, so
Oh
I think
yeah. Like
yeah.
after that, I think I'm invincible.
Yeah.
Also,
But
didn't they announce a new Game of Thrones spin-off show this week?
It's a mini series
Yeah,
based on
I'm. Hey,
the
look,
final.
I am not a Game of Thrones person. I appreciate what they did, but that is not like my main
Yeah,
jam. But figured
those
it's
are
worth
fun
mentioning.
novellas.
we were just talking about how like OpenAI might be damaging their brand by doing porn and stuff. Like, they damaged the Game of Thrones brand so badly by making the last season and a half just dog water.
Because they just rushed through it and they didn't have any source material. What were we just mentioning?
Well, yeah. So what I was gonna say was, So not a big scary movies guy,
Mhm.
but Good Boy is PG-13,
Yeah,
and it's a horror movie where the dog is the main character.
yeah.
So
Good.
I'm very curious about that. I want to
I
see.
would
I want to see it in theaters because I want to support a weird movie like that.
it's cool. It's a cool indie thing. I still need to check that out. I did get through. I just saw a screening of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and I want to tell everybody, if it is playing near you in a theater, you should go see that movie. You should go see that movie on a big screen because it is incredible, and I'll talk more about it closer to the Netflix release.
I want to go see the
Yeah,
Smashing Machine too, but I don't know
that's
if
all
I'm
right.
gonna have a chance to do it.
You're good.
Okay,
You're
you
good.
think so?
Yeah,
I've heard this is like the Rock's best performance, and I want to
yeah,
see
okay,
like
it's The Rock's best performance at not being Dwayne Johnson in every movie.
And yet he turns into Dwayne Johnson in the
okay,
movie.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah,
that's my
he
main
turns into The
curiosity is
Rock
like
in the movie.
I want to see peak Rock acting performance, and as far as
It's
I
okay.
have heard,
Yeah.
this is it.
It totally feels
Um,
like The Rock picked a movie to be like, I could win an Oscar with this one, right? I could do this. But it feels so manufactured, and the movie itself is just kind of meh.
mm.
But you've got good stuff to see in theater, so yeah, I highly recommend Frankenstein, which is out in limited release
And
this
there's
weekend.
that new Paul Thomas Anderson movie as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
love
want to
that.
see one battle after another.
Also see that on a big screen if you can. I think we can
Um,
make folks.
yeah. What was I thinking about? Oh yeah, I need David Batista to win an Oscar before The Rock.
Yes, please.
Because
He's legitimately great.
I
well,
also
yeah,
think he
and
has a much better shot at it too.
I mean, because he has more talent. But
Yeah.
the big thing that I'm getting at is that he came correct. He's
Mhm.
like, yes, I am a big man. I was a professional wrestler, but I care so much about this craft, so on and so on. Like, um, some stylist got him into a very good pair of glasses that make
Yep.
him look like
The Blade Runner
30 IQ
2049
points
glasses.
smarter when he's wearing them.
His
Well,
Blade
he
Runner
also has been
2049
like pretty
glasses.
public about like him
Yeah.
wanting to like lose weight and like slim down because his
Yeah,
physical
yeah,
hugeness
like
was like becoming an issue in terms of like getting some of the roles that he wanted to get.
yeah, you can't like disappear into a role when your physical form is brick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, tell that to Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. He made an amazing career in the 90s. Kindergarten Cop, we didn't assume that guy was like a world class bodybuilder. He was just a
That's
cop
true.
who's the teacher. What the? How did his career work? That's amazing stuff. Anyway, I think we can wrap, folks.
Yep.
Go see
Okay,
those
so
movies. Yeah.
thanks everybody in the chat. Thank you to Lucky Dog Podcast and Simon B, and then also Scott B. Thanks to who else do we got in here? Pamela Denise
Bro.
and DPro9 and everybody else who might have only chatted once and I'm not seeing you. You make the show better. You remember stuff we forget. It's always fun to do the live stream. So thanks a bunch, and we'll see you next week.